was Happy Jack.
And then you left me.
What? Kicked me out.
Well, you know who didn't get kicked out?
Tell me who didn't get kicked out, baby. Segue.
Once again, according to The Real Deal, Brentwood Airbnb tenant refuses to leave or pay rent for 540 lovely long days.
Wow. So a tenant stayed, agreed to pay, chose not to pay, and said, I don't want to leave.
Yeah, but there's a little bit more something as I'm making the 8-ball hands.
I was just going to say, oh, you're not going to say nothing? This is crazy.
I was taking
did it on purpose.
I was paying homage to you.
This is crazy right
If
now.
I were to shake the 8-ball with my hands cupped,
My 8-ball?
Your Saeed's 8-ball, which seems to be really big in my hands. If I were to shake his magic 8-ball and say, what's really going on here? Tell me the truth.
If you want to see this, you can head over to our YouTube page.
Yeah.
Make sure you smash that like button, hook up with that notification bell. And what's the other one? I forget it, man.
And sex talk, the like button.
Yeah.
A legal conundrum could allow short-term occupant to stay in rent-free forever. So I know this whole thing's going to sound really bad, but I want you to take it with a bit of pause because there is certainly a backstory here that was not covered well in the article. She may be the ultimate squatter. A woman who rented an Airbnb guest house in the hills of Brentwood hasn't paid rent for at least 540 days, and she refuses to leave. Elizabeth Hilchorn, I don't know, whose Airbnb stay ended in April of last year, claims she has a right to stay, while a judge has ruled that, under LA's rent control law, there's no legal reason to evict her.
So crazy, man.
She has refused to move out unless the property owner, Dr. Sasha Jovanovich, pays her a relocation fee of $100,000 according to a settlement offer.
A relocation fee of $100,000.
Now, I know that sounds like extortion. And I read the article, a separate article outside the Real Deal here, that I originally saw this on, I think it was Apple News. I'll try to link it in the show notes if I can find it again. But I found this sensational because, first of all, buying tenants out is not an uncommon thing.
Right.
In some areas. Downtown Los Angeles, especially in rent-controlled areas.
Because of rent. Explain that why.
So if I'm a property owner and I'm renting you a unit under market value because I haven't been able to increase the rents and you've been there for a long time, and I haven't been able to increase you at the same cadence that rents have gone up, I may be able to get you out of that property that you're renting for $2,000 a month and rent it out for $4,500 a month.
Right.
And that might sound like a slight increase to me, the landlord, on a monthly basis, but what that allows me to do is borrow tremendously more against the property from a cash flow perspective.
Right. Because as an underwriter, when I'm underwriting this property, remember, these types of properties are not being underwritten based on how much income the owner of the property is making personally. It's how much income is the property generating itself.
Exactly.
Gang. Like that?
I do like that.
Okay, so go.
Is that what sex talk is like?
You think they say gang in there?
I think they do.
That'd be kind of that's a slippery slope under sex talk. Gang.
So you fuck around, hit that B button. It's a different conversation.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's sports, honey. I swear.
He hates you so much right now.
Bro, I'm out of him.
So, in any event, I decided to go down a little bit of the rabbit hole. Not sex talk, but the rabbit hole of this story. And I decided that, you know what, I want to look into this a little bit more and figure out some of the logistics here.
Okay.
It turns out this woman, who is the holdover tenant here, who stayed past her date of exit, she was 60 when this whole thing started last year. She's now 61.
Savvy.
Yeah, she's not from the United States, it sounds like. It sounds like she's from somewhere in Europe. But that being said, she went and saw an attorney. Turns out the ADU in the back of this man's property, which he built, and is a multi-million-dollar, high-end, beautiful property, kind of unique, interesting.
ADU, for everyone out there, is just an additional dwelling unit that people can build, on their property and maybe generate more income.
Yeah, think of it as a guest house or a mother-in-law unit or something to that effect. But you can now really add those pretty conveniently in the state of California. I don't know when his was added. It sounds like it was added when the home was built.
Very popular now.
Yeah, very popular now. It's a great way to build in some extra cash flow. And the way his property's built, there's a gate on the left where she can walk straight to the unit in the back.
Have her own entry.
Have her own entry, ingress, egress, the whole thing. Well, it turns out the unit was never permitted for the shower and the restroom that's in there.
But it was permitted for the ADU itself?
I believe that the structure was permitted.
The structure, okay.
But not those extra components.
Right, which makes it...
an illegal unit.
Yes, exactly.
An illegal unit is an interesting thing in the state of California. You can live in a legal unit, but it's not legal.
Yeah, it makes it illegal, and technically, without if they were to be forced to remove the shower, it's considered inhabitable, right?
Inhabitable.
Inhabitable.
Or inhibitable.
Inhabitable, yeah. Inhabitable.
ESL, right?
ESL,
English
yeah,
is
yeah,
second
yeah.
language. Not, trust me, as a guy who stutters and doesn't speak clearly a lot, I got to tell you, I feel for your pain.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. It's only the economics.
Yeah, exactly.
So it turns out that she originally went to him and they tried to settle for less than the $100,000, and then the subsequent settlement's over I think $100,000 now. But this guy was strong-arming her to leave.
Wow.
He didn't want to make any concessions. He didn't want to admit that you built this. You knew it wasn't permitted. You put her in a unit that should not have been rentable.
True.
And it's an Airbnb. He says that he's afraid for his life. This is a 61-year-old woman.
Come on, man.
Going in and out the side of your house. So you feel comfortable with strangers renting your property on Airbnb at whatever cadence they come in and out of, but you're not as comfortable with a 61-year-old woman that you know?
Yeah, obviously that
sounds like a stretch.
That sounds like a bit of a stretch, but we also know that, look, in the state of California, landlords get taken for a ride, man.
This is not a landlord-friendly state. One of the many reasons I like Oklahoma, very landlord-friendly state.
Really? Yeah. Like, what's the big key difference that makes you feel more comfortable going out that way?
Well, obviously, cheaper initial cost was my biggest driver.
I know, but as far as being a landlord-tenant.
I think most of the case law there is in favor of the landlords. I think in California oh, God, this is going to sound political, and I don't want to get people to get political.
No, you're not a slumlord by any means. Like you just talked about the other day.
I'm not a slumlord by any stretch of the imagination, and I try to do the right thing at all times. But I think we've demonized, like lawyers are demonized, bankers are demonized, and landlords are demonized. And I'm all three of those things.
Employers are demonized.
Employees can be demonized. So in the state of California, landlords are looked at as like manipulative. They're the rich. They're the 1%. They're taking advantage of the little guy, the renter. In some cases, that's probably true. Okay, and I'm not denying that's a thing. And there are slumlords. Those are real fucking problems. But not all landlords are the devil, man.
Right.
I would say that the laws in California are really focused on protecting the renter.
Right.
Because it is such a high cost to enter. There are so many renters here. There are so many multifamily properties here. So it makes sense that there's more litigation to protect the majority, which in this case seem to be renters.
Yes.
Versus in Oklahoma, there's not really apartment buildings anywhere near the same clip they are here.
Right.
They're much more land rich and spread out. So you get a lot more landlords and probably more equal landlords than renters in some level in certain areas. So it's a lot more landlord friendly.
A couple years, just a couple years ago, the whole state of California passed rent control.
Yeah,
so
statewide rent control. Yeah.
So, but that only applies, I believe, to multifamily properties, right? Not necessarily single family.